Merry Christmas, Edith. Hope you're enjoying your day. So Christmas time. It's a wonderful time of year. Um, a lot of different practices people enjoy doing this time of year, decorating, all sorts of things. Santa Claus. Now, the holidays, everyone's celebrating it. Everyone's in on it. You know, when you're young, when you're a child, you're not thinking about anything else. But what your family's telling you, what everybody's telling you, it's Christmas time, Santa's coming. Everybody's in on it. Everyone's in on it. So why would you question the validity of this Santa Claus figure or anything else? If everybody's in on it and telling you it's this way, why would you naturally question it? Everybody's in on it. Everybody's in on it. Santa Claus is coming to town. Everybody's in on it. There's an entire industry about Santa Claus coming to town. Songs, movies, merchandise, shops. There's a culture of pretending and having your family, your young ones, your younger self, believe that there's a Santa Claus, that there's a magical make-believe, physically impossible place where this physically impossible being creates physically impossible amount of material, merchandise, toys, and he does it with physically impossible means through the reindeer. He gets everybody. He gets everybody in a moment. He physically makes stuff happen that is physically impossible. No one else can do it. No one else can physically recreate what Santa Claus is said to be doing. You talk to your family, your younger self, and say, hey, there's this physically impossible being doing physically impossible things, but you need to respect him, and maybe if you're good, we'll give you something. But you gotta believe. You gotta believe. And you better believe good, or else you're not getting anything. If you don't believe, you're not getting the prize. Right? Now what if your younger self, you were like, man, that's mom and dad giving me gifts during this winter time. This is all BS. This is unnecessary. You don't have to go through all. We can have a party and we can exchange gifts, but it ain't no crazy dude in a red devil suit having you sit on his lap. You know what I'm saying? Why am I sitting on some other dude's lap? Why would you sit on any other dude's lap? He's not your dad. Why would you sit on a strange man's lap? To get a prize? But you can't do that when you're younger because you're critical thinking, you're trusting. You're too trusting. And good people, children, the ignorant are too trusting. And that's where you can capitalize on the ignorant being trusting. So, you're a certain age, you trust that this snowman's flying around and just so happens to have enough time to give you gifts. Physically impossible to get everyone and their family and friends in that night, right? But also physically impossible to make stuff appear without physically opening the door to your house and physically putting presents under a tree, which is, anyway, that's another. But anyway, so at one point in your life, you believed that there was someone flying above your head, and you were emotionally attached to that being because you didn't want to disappoint that being, and you didn't want to be disappointed when you got the gift for believing. Your prize for believing in Santa Claus and believing in a fairy tale was a prize that you maybe asked for. Now, where am I going with this? Remember, in that same age, that same trusting, ignorant mindset, where someone told you the strange man in the red suit was your friend, and you should worship him, and believe that he has magical, beyond physical explanation powers. Now, if you believe that, you also have to believe, not that you have to, but you will believe anything else, right? The Easter Bunny, the leprechaun, who else is out there? You believe anything as long as it brings you a gift, right? As long as it brings you something cherry, yes, I'll believe whatever you want me to say. Goes perfect with where they tell you you're living. You walk outside, you don't feel it, you feel stationary. You feel level. You don't feel or notice that you're floating in a vacuum. You're floating in nothing, right? You're floating in nothing. You're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 24 hours a day. How fast do you have to be going an hour? 1,000 miles an hour. If the radius of the Earth is 24,000. So you have to believe that you are falling over backwards as the sun sets behind the ball. You have to believe that it's physically possible to live on a spinning ball. If you believe in Santa Claus, you will believe that you live on a spinning ball. Because just like Santa Claus, everybody's in on it. So then it must be true. Everybody's in on the Santa Claus thing except for, your parents and the people making money off your ignorance as a child. But they're also making money off the ignorant who think they can live on a spinning ball. That is physically impossible. You cannot physically reconstruct an environment that is supported on a spinning ball in a vacuum with an atmosphere of pressurized gas next to a vacuum without a container. Everything is physically impossible. You might as well believe that Santa Claus has been living in the North Pole forever, dresses like an evil person with all red, makes your children sit on his lap, and then watches your children because you're too busy to do it for them, and he rewards them because they believe in him, and only if they believe. How do you get rewarded believing in the globe? You get to go through work school. You get to go through the work training school. And if you believe more than the other kids, you will believe yourself into a nice little, cozy little position for the company. Okay, just working for someone else because you put power in someone else instead of saying, "Hey, I don't need this school. I'm gonna go be a professional painter when I'm, you know, 12, 13, and I'm gonna start my own painting company instead of going to school and college to be a psychology major and then get out when you're 24 and have to work at Best Buy or something." So, just like Santa Claus, just like Christmas, everybody's in on it. Just like the globe. You teach them when they're ignorant, everybody's in on it, so it must be true. And then you find out only everybody's ignorant. They've been brought up that way. No one told you Santa Claus wasn't real until you became smart enough, right? They're not. Your parents weren't going to tell you, "Hey, Santa Claus isn't real," and then see you cry and, you know, "Why'd you lie to me?" and blah 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 blah. So same thing. The globe is physically impossible. It's a lie. Why did they lie? Because they get more money out of you that way. Think of how much money the if what's easier, faking it or actually doing it? Is it easier faking being Santa Claus, or is it easier being Santa Claus? Do you make more money faking being Santa Claus, or do you make more money being the only Santa Claus? Like saying, you make more money faking Santa Claus. You make more money, even if space was real and you were on a floating ball, spinning, twirling. It's way easier just to fake traveling and say I went there and have you give me money to do more fake traveling as long as everybody's in on it, so it must be true. Everybody was in it on Santa Claus until you were what, like, shit, I think it was like 11 before they were like, "Hey, Santa ain't real." I don't know, dude. But if you physically think you're on a physically spinning object, yet you don't feel like you're spinning, you feel level, you feel stationary, then you believe in a Santa Claus. You believe in the Easter Bunny. You believe anything I want you to believe.